This is JoAnna Puzzo, Feline Welfare Manager at Battersea Cats and Dogs Home, and this handsome shy little lad is Kip. They're joining us today to take a look at gaming's new favourite furry feline in Stray.
So they're grooming each other, they're greeting each other with those chirrup calls, those little kind of squeaks and things like that, and that just means that they're quite a bonded sort of social group. Cat's jumping on the piano, of course. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. I hope he's okay.
Please do check all the links in the description. Down there you'll be able to find links to Battersea Cats and Dogs Home's website, as well as their donation and support pages, and even a place where you could sign up to adopt adorable little Kip. Right, over to JoAnna.
Yeah, looks like this chap is having a little game with his friend, and I assume that this is probably a miniature kind of colony of stray cats that are all living together. Yeah, so a little bit of play behavior there. And what's interesting is all of these cats, if you can see, with one exception, I think there's a black cat, but they're all ginger and white, which is really common when it comes to colonies, feral colonies, because genetically they're all sort of, quite similar. So you often see these colonies of cats all looking the same color or the same color variations. That's really quite common. And you'll also see what's called this allo grooming behavior. So they're grooming each other, they're greeting each other with those chirrup calls, those little kind of squeaks and things like that. And that just means that they're quite a bonded sort of social group, and they're all quite familiar with each other. That's usually the kind of makeup of those feral colonies. Also important to note, most ginger cats are male. It doesn't mean you don't get female gingers, but I'm going to assume that this chap is male. I think he doesn't really have a name, does he? Bless him. So now it looks like he's establishing a sort of territorial marker there, both chemically with the scent glands from his paw pads, establishing that scent on the tree, but also a very striking visual marker to denote that this is his territory, this is his space. Again, horizontal scratching, very similar. He's saying this is his familiar territory, his space, and also sharpening his claws. There's a little bit of maintenance there as well when they do claw sharpen. And I know this isn't always an attractive feature when cats scratch furniture and things like that. You can do things to mitigate that, like scratching posts, really tall vertical scratching posts, so the cat is able to fully scratch and fully extend. And it's just really important to provide those for cats in a home environment so they don't destroy furniture and things like that, and they can show that natural behavior of scratching and depositing their scent, and that just establishes that familiarity in their environment, so they're much more comfortable. So again, most cats are quite good at avoiding knocking things off, so this probably is intentional. When you do see cats knocking things off of shelves, there's a little bit of purposeful behavior there with knocking those items off. That's quite a defensive move he just made. He doesn't know what this is, and cats are designed to have that fear response when they come into contact with something that they don't know. It's a natural survival mechanism. Anything that's alien or foreign to them could potentially present a danger. So that jumping back is, a way of him kind of creating some distance between him and whatever it is that could be a danger to him. All right, so he's again adopting that very defensive posturing with the dilated pupils, that hissing and the ears flat. And what he's doing is running away. So a cat's chosen form to cope with something that's scary or a danger to their survival is to run. So cats will adopt one of the 4 Fs as a strategy to maintain their survival. So that's flight, fight, freeze, or fidget. And so anything that could put them in danger, like fighting something and becoming injured, they want to avoid. So he's gonna go for flight to get away from those little flea-looking creatures and keep himself safe. And that little scratch there is probably a displacement behavior where he's actually not itchy, but it's a de-stressor, it's a de-arousal technique where just a quick groom or a quick scratch, it can just de-arouse them and kind of just bring those stress levels down a little bit so they can kind of take a deep breath. So it's actually not a functional behavior, but rather just a displacement behavior to kind of take stock and just kind of take a breath. Okay, so I think this is the little backpack, the little kind of harness that gets put on him. So this is actually something a bit tricky because most cats don't appreciate having something on them. Like, unfortunately, there are people who will put clothes or, harnesses on their cats. And just because cats really like to be in control of their environment and what's happening to them, this can be a very aversive and quite uncomfortable. And that's why he's adopting that quite low down kind of crawling posture, because he wants to take it off. So it's not something we would recommend putting anything like a little backpack on a cat or harness or anything like that. It's something that for the video game, it is quite cute. And I suppose it has a purpose, but generally cats wouldn't appreciate something like this. Also, I wouldn't recommend putting your cat in a bucket and sending him kind of parasailing down an alleyway. It's very, very cute. You do see those internet videos of people who live in high-rise flats and they'll lower a basket down and the cat will jump in and come up. But that's a very, context-specific situation. So most cats generally don't like zooming down, on a zip line like that, I would imagine. So interestingly, this cat he's rubbing up against these robots that he's come across. Again, they have very strong scent glands along their flanks, their sides. And so what he's doing is depositing that scent to sort of create some familiarity with that object or that person, basically saying, okay, so, you're familiar to me. You're not a threat. I just want to make it clear that we're sort of on the same social footing. And cats do this with their owners or somebody, they first meet if they don't feel that they're a threat, if they're quite comfortable with them, quite familiar. So it's a really nice behavior. It's lovely greeting behavior that cats will adopt when they meet someone. So oftentimes you see cats curled up like this, and it's feigned sleeping, which means they're not actually completely falling asleep. They're still very vigilant. And this is because they're both a predator and a prey species. So they always have to be aware of their surroundings to make sure there's no danger. You can see his ears are pricked upright, kind of just listening for anything going on in his immediate surroundings. And again, that random vocalizing while he's sleeping there isn't generally something cats do. I think it was added in just probably for cuteness effects. They will vocalize towards individuals or towards their owner to try to get food or treats, attention, things like that. Oof. Cats jumping on the piano, of course. You see a lot of cats do this and they kind of freak out and jump off because the noise is so startling. Walking on keyboards, that was something, during lockdown, people working from home, I think a lot of cats got into trouble for. And that is generally cats, sometimes want to be involved in what's going on. Sleeping on laptops, it's a nice warm surface near their owner. So a lot of cats will do that and, get in the way. So this is interesting because generally most cats won't opt to put a paper bag on their head. I don't know if he meant to do that, but obviously he looks quite distressed and he can't see. Again, as a prey species, they need to be always in control of their environment and always on the lookout for danger. So putting a paper bag on a cat's head is definitely not something that we would recommend. I imagine this is maybe just to show cats can get into sticky situations and maybe it looks funny from the outside, but really it can be quite scary and not very nice for the cat. He can't see where he's going, turning around in circles. Okay, wouldn't recommend putting a cat on a little go-kart there and sending him careening down. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. I hope he's okay. Oh, he's limping. Oh, bless him. So cats are very, very, very good at hiding or disguising pain or when they're injured or ill. So he must actually be quite in a lot of pain to be showing that limp. The reason that they hide any injury or illness is, again, because they are an independent species and they don't have other pack individuals around to take care of them if they do fall ill. And if they show any weakness, then they're easy pickings for a predator. This all stems from their ancestor, the African wildcat, who they're descended from, and living out in sort of northern African plains there. And they would be extremely vulnerable if they were to show that weakness. So he will usually hide it. But interestingly, this poor guy does seem to have a bit of a limp. So that fall must have really done a bit of damage, bless him. Yes, the old cat getting involved in the board game. They don't have boundaries, if they want to get involved, And anything like that could potentially be something for them to play with. I often see play items, in different things, cardboard boxes. Cats love cardboard boxes. It's, a little hidey hole for them. It's something to investigate, those natural exploratory behaviors that cats will often show in the wild. And cardboard boxes are just great to provide for entertainment, scrunching up some paper in there and throwing a few treats. And it's a natural puzzle feeder for them, a natural kind of foraging feeder, which is really good at tapping into their natural behaviors. Yeah, so the cat getting under people's feet, this does happen. And, oftentimes they do that when they're rubbing against your legs and you've got, your hands full of something, and they'll trip you up. And that's them just, wanting to rub against you and establishing their territory. This robot is probably playing it up a little bit. I think maybe he's the issue here. And they don't intentionally do this. Cats don't intentionally try to trip people up. They're certainly not trying to do that and cause injury. I think he's just doesn't realize that he is in the way. I mean, the game, it's really quite ingenious because whoever made the game, they really picked up on a lot of very natural cat behaviors like aloe grooming and aloe rubbing with individuals in his social group. They've also included some nice subtle behaviors like the pupils dilating when he's, quite vigilant, those ears turning, and the defensive posturing. Also the vocalizing, it's really sweet and really nice. And they definitely have done their research. And I guess the only thing I would say is it's such a lovely game. And I think it's really lovely to showcase stray cats. Just coming from Battersea, we do get quite a few strays into us, all looking for their homes, as well as cats that are, brought into us by their owners. And, if you do want to support Battersea by just taking a look at our website and any cats available for rehoming, that would be fantastic. If you do want to know a little bit more about cat behavior as well, we have a huge suite of feline literature on our website, or just advice around any issues with your cats. But I think just to round up, they really have captured quite a lot of kind of little behaviors there with this cat. And I think it's just really sweet what they've achieved. And it seems really popular. So they definitely have done something right there.